Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial. And in this tutorial, we shall be looking at an introduction to using the Etabs application for the analysis and the design of structures. So, Etabs is used by those structural engineers who have a passion for high-rise buildings. So, in continuing tutorials, we shall be covering concepts and fundamentals behind using Etabs in projects. The concepts behind the finite element analysis in Etabs. We can also look at the static and dynamic load earthquake assignments. Before using Etabs, one should be able to verify design by hand, as well as by common rules of thumb for building designing. Then at the end, we can be able to create design reports. And when learning Etabs, you should learn it in a way that you can be able to teach someone else. And that is the trick to learning Etabs easily. So in today's session, we shall be looking at editing the story and grid systems, defining material properties, defining section properties, and drawing in Etabs. Then in other sessions, we shall look at other continuation or other steps within using the Etabs. So when you're beginning a new project, this is how your Etabs model will look, the model initialization pop-up. So you would use built-in settings. So you have to set the display units, metric SI, the region, can you set Euro, then the steel section, you have to say to Euro, then the steel design code, and the concrete code. So after setting that, you press OK. So what comes on is the grid spacing. So you can be able to change the stories. So in our case, we shall use 3 stories. Typical story height. The typical story height can be 4 meters. The typical story height is 3 meters, but for bottom story height, it could be 4 meters, since bottom stories are always higher than the other top stories. Then there's number of grids in the x direction. You can take 4. The number of grids in the direction, you can take 4. We can change them to 6. Then spacing of grids in the directions. So we can change the spacing to 3.5 meters. Then here to 4 meters. So we can able to edit the grid labels here. If you take custom grid spacings, you do it here, where you need to edit the grid data manually to be able to custom your settings. So the structure blocks, you shall use grid only, and we can press OK. So Etabs has 2 quick access toolbars. This is the horizontal quick access toolbar and the vertical quick access toolbar. So the vertical quick access toolbar helps us in saving time during the drawing process. So at the bottom of your horizontal quick access toolbar, there are the units. So you can come here and be able to access the units. So another pop-up on the view access tool is whether to decide to draw on one story or on all stories. So on the vertical quick access, the vertical quick access toolbar, we shall be using it during the modeling process. So steps which should be followed in using Etabs. The first step is defining the materials. Then you define the section properties. Then you can be able to draw. Then you have to assign loads, the load patterns, the mass sources. Then you define the load combinations. And after you be able to assign the loads, then you can do meshing. Then you can assign sections, labels, diaphragms, and then you can do other forms of analysis, such as earthquake analysis, which follows, and various types of analyses. So when we look at our edit tab, we can be able to edit our story and grid system data. So come to edit. Edit stories, grid systems. So here is our grid system, so we can go to modify. So here we have to modify it, so we have to modify our story data. So these are our 3 stories that we have. So you can always choose the master story. So if story 1 is your master story, you can set all other stories to be similar to it. So story 3 can be similar to story 1, and story 2 can be similar to story 1, since it will have been set as our master story. So whatever we draw on story 1 will be depicted on other stories, since we've set it as our master story. So Etabs has an explorer model, and this explorer model helps us to navigate through our project. So in this case, if we have come up with our project, we shall be able to use the model explorer So the model explorer contains the project, so we can get the project information, which we can able to edit by adding the client's name, the project name, and the project numbers, plus all other information to the project. Then it also contains the design preferences, which we had already set at the start of a project, but you can still access them here and be able to edit them. So it contains the display, which helps you display various windows, then tables to be able to access the results, say, then after you've run the analysis. Then you can be able to access the results from here and import them to Excel for further analysis. Then also the design reports will be accessed through here on the model explorer. So that's it. So So when we come to define, the first step we shall do is defining our materials. So in this, our materials, we have to define the materials which will be used in the project. So the first material we can add are the concrete types or classes to be used, grades. So you can come here, we choose the concrete grades which will be used. Insert it. Choose the next concrete grade. Insert it. So you must ensure that the modulus of elasticity of the concrete grade chosen is accurate for the concrete class desired. So you can come here and be able to change it. So the other material you can add is the rebar. So on the design property data, you can name our first rebar as T500. So when we come to modify this property, the grade has no grade. So when we come here to minimum yield strength should be set to 500 MPa. Okay, then we can, this is for the longitudinal rebar. So we can add another rebar property for the ties and stirrups. So we can call it R240. Then we can come and modify this property. Then the minimum yield strength should be 240. Then we press OK. So these are some of the materials which are able to use in our project. After setting the materials, we would come to the define tab. We define the section properties. So we shall start with the frame sections. So if we come, we shall add a new property, and we're going to use rectangular columns. So we can name our column as column 300 by 300. Then the material, concrete class 25. Then we can come here and change the depth to 300. And here to 300. Then we can modify the reinforcement. So the design type is a column, so we select column. Then the longitudinal bars, we come and set it to 500. And the confinement bars, we set it to 40. So clear cover to confinement bars, we can edit it from here, set to 30 millimeter. And we can do other edits of columns from here. So we are done with defining our columns, which we shall use in this project. Okay. So then we can add another property, which is the beam property. Add any property, steel to concrete. So we can add a beam, say 300 by 400. So the material, we set it to concrete 20. Can come the depth 400 millimeter and the width 300 millimeter. So when we come to the reinforcement modification, we set the design type to beam only. So we can be able to change the cover to say 40 millimeter. And the longitudinal bars could be 500. And the confinement bars could be R. So press OK. So in this case, we are done with the defining of our beam properties. Okay. So the next step is defining the slab properties. So we come to define section properties. slab sections, add new property, so we can call our slab. We can give it a name, say floor slab. So the slab material is concrete class 20. The modeling type we use shell thin. Then we can come here and edit the slab type. Can be ripped, drop, waffle, mat, or footing. Okay, so in this case, we shall take the slab type, which is a purely concrete slab. So we can change the type here, the thickness. We can put the thickness to be 180 millimeters. And press OK. Okay. So our next step now is to draw. So a good practice is to draw columns and walls before beams and slabs. So you can come to your vertical quick access toolbar and be able to draw the columns, the beams, and the slabs using the quick access toolbars. So you come here, draw quick columns. You will set the properties here to the columns we defined. The angle degree gives you the rotation of the column. Then the plan offsets could help us to offset columns. If you want to draw a column offset from the point of intersection on the grid, you could be able to change the settings from here. So in our case, we'll be able to drag from our left to right to be able to insert columns at all our intersection points. But we used story 3, we must first set the story to story 1. So that when we draw on story 1, whatever we draw will be depicted on the higher stories. So you come here to the plan, story 1, apply, okay, close. So again you come to the quick columns. Then you shall be able to drag from left to right. And the columns have been set to 1 story, but we want them on all stories, so we shall come here and our horizontal quick access toolbar and set to all stories. So again we come to the quick columns. So yeah, so all our columns have been inserted into our project. So the next step is to draw the beams. So you come to the quick beams icon, then select the property of the beam we want to set. We had already defined it here. And again we select from our left right to insert beams at all the intersection points. So if you want to see our columns and beams extruded, we will come to our ribbon, then the display options, then in the general tab, enable extrude frames. So I think we had wanted them to be extruded in the 3D view, so we can come back. General section, extrude frames. we activate the 3D view to be able to extrude the sections. So when you say extrude frames, so yeah, so our frames have been extruded here, and this is how our model will look like. So after then, we then model slabs into our project. So again, we shall use the draw quick flow. So we come here, the property, we have defined our slab as flow slab. We shall be able to select the regions where we would want to insert our slabs. So when we send it on one story, it goes to all stories since we are using the similar story property. So you can hold on as our slabs are being inserted into our project. So yeah, so that's it. We are now done with modeling. So let's check on see what to see the base. So there are slabs on the base, so can I go to delete them, or it is selecting all. So I can come here to set to one story. And move to skip selection. And you can select all the slabs at the bottom and be able to delete them. So we can assign the fixed restraints from the assign tab to the bottom of the columns. So the first restraint is here, which is fixed. So we have to first select the area to assign. So we select all our sections at the bottom, and we come to assign joint restraints. Then we assign the fixed, apply, then close. Yes, So we've assigned a fixed restraints to the bottom of our columns. So that's it for today. Next we shall look at loadings in Etabs.